Hello everyone, today I'm going to show everyone how to invest in dividend stocks. I tend to look for stocks that are going to carry anywhere from like a 7 to 10% a year dividend. So they're fairly high dividends and they also come with some risk, keep that in mind, and I'll go through that in a second. But if you want to know how to do this and actually get paid monthly income, go ahead and stay tuned and I'm going to show you what it's all about. So one thing about dividend stocks that's important to understand is they're not guaranteed. So they pay a 7% guaranteed dividend. Obviously you can see that in advance, and that can fluctuate depending on the price of the stock. But at the end of the day, you don't know where the stock's going to go. I mean, the stock can go way up, it can go way down, and so you can lose money definitely with these type of stocks. So keep that in mind, and it's never a guarantee like a savings account interest rate would be. One of the things I do look for in the stock is basically, I do look for a longevity as far as how long the stock's been stable. And I'll show you how I do that in a second, but basically I look at some graphs and I look at some other things and I look at what they're obviously investing in. But I want to see some stability with these dividend stocks. A lot of dividend stocks will obviously be paying a really high rate, sometimes 15%, but the stock's just constantly going like this. So you're constantly fighting the price of the stock. So if you can get a stable stock that pays like a 7 to 10% dividend and the stock doesn't really change much, it's staying at the same cost all the time, you're making that 7 to 10% a year and you can bank that money. When the stock's going down, you're constantly fighting the stock price. You're really not doing anything and you're actually losing money at that point with inflation and things, so keep that in mind. Alright, so the stock that I want to talk about today is called DNP. DNP, it's Duff and Phelps. It's a select income fund. It's basically a common stock, just keep that in mind, and it does have about a 7.05% yearly dividend. So, but it does pay monthly. So every month, and you divide the 7.5% divided by 12, you're going to make that, which is, 0.6, 0.7% a month on your money. So the stock I want to talk about today is DNP. It's a select income fund, and you can see it's a common stock. Its symbol is DNP. And basically, if you can look here, I want to show you guys a little bit about what I do for my research as far as how I actually determine what stock to purchase here for dividend stocks. This stock, if you look at this chart here, this actually pays a 7.05% dividend yield. That's yearly. So if you divide that by 12, you're going to get your monthly. This actually pays a monthly dividend. So every month you're going to get 1/12 of that percentage. And I'll show you that in a second. But typically, and again, this is just, after I do all my research on a stock and after I figure out exactly what stock I think has good, good background, a good history, has good, things it's investing in, then I'll look at, this is the last thing that I like to do with these dividend stocks. I'll show you right here. So basically what I do is see this graph up here. I'll click on the max up here. See where it says max? And it's going to show you basically since the stock's been since it's been around, basically it's going to show you where it's been as far as the price of the stock. And if you can see this, way back in 1987, almost 32 years ago, this stock actually became a stock, and it actually was around $10 or $11. It was up to 10.38. If you look at the stock over the history of those 37 years, and you draw a line from the start all the way to the end, if you can see, it's pretty flat. I mean, obviously it's had ups and it's had its downs, especially in 2008. But if you kept that stock and you didn't actually sell it and freak out when it actually did something that was bad, and you just kept it going, when it was way down here, the stock, the dividend percentage would have went way up. So if you kept reinvesting it, you maybe would have had a 10 or 12% dividend down here, or even more. And then you were buying more of the stock so that when it came back up, you'd actually make even more money. And the way I look at these stocks is I look at a stock like this, I look at the longevity over 37 years, if you can see here, and it's very flat. And the reason I want that in a dividend stock is because I don't care if it goes up. I would like it to go up a little bit, but when it goes up, the dividend goes down. But if it stays flat like this, I'm banking this 7.05% dividend, every year. So every year I'm making that percentage money. It's better than kind of a savings account. There's obviously more risk to it, but this is this trend that I'm looking for, where the stock stays very, very stagnant as far as the time now to all the way to the end. And you just basically have to stay in there over time, and you're going to keep making that 7% dividend every single year. So that's important to understand. And so this is a great stock for me, only because of the fact that I did some research on it, and I'm not sure it's good for you, but for me it was because it does, it invests in energy funds. It's got this history of 37 years, and if you didn't freak out and you didn't buy or sell at certain points, you would have been making that 7% every year, sometimes more, sometimes less. But again, it's a very consistent type of return on your money. So that's the trend that I look for in this type of a stock. So that's just a really short version of it. And there's a lot more that goes into looking into stocks. Just remember that. I mean, it's not this easy. And I'm not recommending this. You have to do your own research. But if this, I'm going to talk a little bit next about why this is something that I like. But keep that in mind that this is only just showing you how I do it. So DNP is basically, the reason I like this stock is it's basically been around since 1987. So it's been around for like 32 years and it's been delivering dividends that long. And they primarily do about 65% of their assets in utilities and in public energy and things like that. So that's another good thing. So it's basically stuff that doesn't fluctuate a ton, unlike, companies like, technology and things like that. So this is more gas, electrical, even telephone services. This stock hits in some of those cases, but basically it's pretty safe stuff. But at the end of the day, again, it still has some risk. So the stock basically they do invest in both domestic and in foreign energy companies as well. So keep that in mind. So it's not just local to the United States. It can also be different countries as well. So in this fund, basically, there's 78% they actually invest in the stock market, 13% are in bonds, and around 8.3% in MLP. Keep this in mind that this can fluctuate. Obviously, there's more investment. It's kind of like an investment company where they'll be changing these up all the time. So the two big holdings of the stock, and it's only 3% for these two big holdings, it's going to be CMS Energy and Next Era Energy. So you can see the stock is really diversified. It does have a lot of different companies it invests in. So its major players are only in about 3.5% that they're investing in. So anyways, do I recommend DNP? Again, I'm not recommending this stock. I'm actually just showing you the way to actually implement kind of my strategy here. It's not really, even a strategy. It's just something the way I do my research. I have to dig deeper into the research once I find a stock like this to figure out if it's, the right stock for me. I don't just use this system and look at this line and then say, oh, this is a great stock. I'll go back and look at all the companies that it invests in, and I'll look at its history, I'll look at who's managing it, things like that. So you have to do your own research on this. Just keep that in mind. Don't follow what I'm telling you. Don't go out and buy this stock unless it's right for you. This is just how I do it, and again, this is just some way to make some money with some passive income. So one thing I did want to talk about is my channel. So my channel basically focuses on technology reviews and making money, so keep that in mind. Basically, you need money to actually buy tech, so that's kind of what I'm all about. So just if you like tech and you like making money, watch my channel. I'll have videos maybe 2 to 3 a week, and I just wanted to give you a little overview of what it's all about. Also, everyone, thanks for watching. If you guys can please subscribe. I'm trying to build up my subscriber base. I just started maybe about a month and a half ago, so if you like the video, please subscribe. It's going to help me out, and we'll talk to you in the next video.